Gear up, scooter fam. Today, I'm making a quick video, sort of midday. I'm going to put this out pretty early. We'll see. I probably will get to another video, I'm sure, before on a normal upload schedule. But I just found out that the Emove Cruiser V2 now has a dual motor version of the scooter. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that today real quick and kind of give an update. I want to kind of get this out as soon as possible so everybody can know about it. And then go over it a little bit and compare the two and so forth. So before we get started, I just want to touch on a couple things. One is seated scooters. I wanted to kind of talk about seated scooters, my thoughts on seated scooters and so forth. To me, I mean, I'm not talking about the scooters that you can remove seats and put back. I mean, that's really a personal preference, really. I like to stand up on my scooters. Otherwise, I would get like a bike or something like that. But I mean, that's fine if people like the style of the scooter and want to sit down. Hey, it's on you for whatever reason. But if I were going to sit down, I would get a bike or maybe a seated type of scooter, but something like this. I'm talking about like the Roadrunner Pro and so forth. The Roadrunner, not the Roadrunner brand, but the Emove Roadrunner Pro. Like, it's fine. It's more of a mini bike or like something similar to a moped or something like that. I know a lot of people think different things about a moped, but to me, a moped is it looks like a bike. It looks like a motorcycle with pedals. Kind of a smaller motorcycle with pedals, minus the pedals. And I do like some of the style of electric bikes that are less bikes and more motorcycle-ish with the pegs rather than pedals. If I got a e-bike, it would be nice to be able to pedal, but I wouldn't want to have to pedal. And so for me, I would want to know 100% that I'm going to get there and back. So if the mileage rating is based on me pedaling sometimes, that doesn't do me any good. Not that I don't want to pedal, just because I don't want to necessarily have to pedal. I prefer just to go with something if I did something like that. But that's not my interest. I don't have an interest in those at the moment. My interest is in stand-up scooters. But it's hard for me to really consider those scooters. To me, they're like mini bikes, moped type of bike, or just an electric motorcycle maybe. But yeah, they're cool and whatnot, but they don't do the same thing. They're not the same. They're not the same beast. They're completely different. Personally, I like the stand-up scooters. All right, I want to give a quick update on the T-Wing. People had some questions about that. And so I got an answer back from T-Wing. And the Z4 question was, what kind of cells do they have? And they have, the answer I got was they have generic lithium cells. So it's not like the XTR, which has the Samsung cells. These are just generic lithium cells from China. And the motor is a 2,000 watt. They're 2,000 watt motors, just the same as the XTR and the XT. So I did get that. I wanted to update you guys on that real quick. All right, now let's jump into the Emove Cruiser V2. I'm going to discuss the specs of the new one, which is less than $2,000, which is, I think, a great price for this scooter. My hope was that it would be, when it came out with the dual motor version, when I heard the rumor, is that it will be around $2,000. They didn't really have a good $2,000 scooter. And this one may be a good $2,000 scooter. So let's get into it. It's a 60 volt, 30 amp hour battery, which is decent. They go from a 52 30 amp hour battery to a 62 volt 30 amp hour. They both have 21700 cells. The one difference on this one for the brakes is it comes with Zoom hydraulic brakes. The other one has a hybrid hydraulic system. The new scooter will go 44 miles an hour versus 33 miles an hour top speed. The range is said to be the same. They're both IPX6 rated. Obviously, you get an extra 1,000-watt motor with the new one, so it's 1,000 on the single, 2,000 on the dual. The load capacity both says 352 pounds for both. The original Emove Cruiser V2 is around 80 pounds, and I don't know how much weight will be added with the motor, the bigger battery, and so forth. So those are the major differences between the new Emove dual motor and the old one. All right, now what I want to talk about is there is a kit that you can get for the old scooter. So if you already bought the Emove Cruiser V2 and now you want to upgrade to a dual motor, you can buy a kit for $500 that will get, it comes with a motor, it comes with a front plug-and-play connector, a separate front controller, and a full set of hydraulic zoom hydraulic brakes. So you get the new brakes, you get the 1,000-watt motor, you get the plug-and-play connector that connects it all for you. The separate front controller so that it controls separately. So you got two motors, two controllers, which is good. You get the full set of zoom hydraulic brakes, so you have to replace the brakes. Now, what I wanted to talk about is sort of, going one way or the other. So if you bought the scooter, it's $1,500 for the single motor, and then if you buy the upgrade kit, it's another $500, which is that's kind of what I was kind of hoping too, but the what I wasn't expecting, which is kind of a pleasant surprise, is that the new one's going to be 60 volts, because my thought was this: if all you do is get kind of like the kit, you get the extra motor that's going to increase the weight. You get the other stuff. It's going to add power. It's going to add acceleration and so forth. So you'll get that out of it, but it's going to likely lose range. I'm talking if you get the kit. Right, so if you get the new one, you're going to have all this stuff, and it says it can get the same range, which bumping up to a 60 volt, that might be the case. And so everything else, you're adding the weight with the motor. The 60 volt's going to be heavier than a 52 volt, but once again, if you're it also increases power. So the range might be the same. The power should go up. The acceleration will definitely go up just because you have two motors. And then it's saying top speed is 44 miles per hour versus 33. So all those things are good. But the kit, what you don't get with the kit, and you're paying pretty much the same price if you bought the $1,500 scooter, and you're getting the kit for $499, is you're paying $2,000, which is what the Emove Cruiser V2 dual motor is. Not asking Voro to go up on the price of the 60 volt dual motor. I think it's a good price for what it is. And I think that going to 60 volts is smart. Otherwise, you're going to see some performance drops. So that's what I was going to talk about here. You're gonna have a 52 volt system, but you're going to have a larger motor. That's going to add weight. The top speed is supposed to increase as well. You go and change the IP settings once you get that everything hooked up. And they have plenty of videos on this as well to do this, so that you're set up. But you can, once you get the kit, you can go in and change the IP settings and get the IP settings and so forth, and make sure that everything's working correctly. But I don't think it's possible that you're going to get the same range. You're going to get maybe higher top speed is what it says, so that's possible. You're getting an extra motor, and it'll they're redoing the settings, so it's gonna spread the power separately and so forth, and so you're gonna get a more efficient pull, and so there's definitely some buzz, and the hill climbing. I mean, this is why I'm interested in the scooter. I was waiting for it to come out, and I thought they were gonna say when it released that they were gonna have both versions. And they're not, they didn't. And so this other one came along later, which is all right. And I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I think they decided to go to a 60 volt system. So, would I buy the scooter new versus, I don't know how much it cost them to put that little kit together, but they certainly shouldn't charge $4.99 for it because you don't get the 60-volt battery. If you got the 60-volt battery, right, it would be worth $4.99 all day. But because you don't have the upgraded 60-volt battery, you're paying the same price for a 52-volt version of the system, and that doesn't sound good. Once again, I hope they don't increase the price of the V2 because of that reason, but because I don't think that's as good of a deal. I wouldn't pay more than $2,000 for a dual motor Emove Cruiser. So, if you're gonna upgrade the battery, which once again is great, I think they should at least move that price $100 cheaper, so it's $399 for the kit, and so at least you're saving $100 by sticking with the 52 volt versus the 60 volt, because it kind of makes you kind of burns you a little bit if you got the single motor and you were interested in maybe getting the dual motor later, or now you're interested in trying the dual motor for whatever reason. The ones who come in and get the 60 volt system are going to have a slightly better scooter, certainly higher range, I believe, and some price, some performance, some different performance feel to it. Maybe acceleration, not sure. It all depends how they dial that in. They're both 30 amp hour batteries, so that's decent. Once again, the Cruiser V2 is going to be heavier than the one with the kit because it has a bigger battery, so it's going to go up. The new one will add whatever that motor weighs to the whole weight. The other stuff, the motor controller, and that's probably minimal, but the extra motor is gonna be a definite weight increase. I like the scooter a lot. I've been watching the Emove Cruiser since for a while, and just the point of it being a single motor is the only reason that I haven't really considered it as a viable option for me. But with the dual motors, it's certainly, and at $2,000, finally Voro has a $2,000 scooter that I'm interested in to some degree. So that's good. Would I upgrade? If I had, I'm kind of glad. Well, I wasn't going to get it anyway without it being a dual motor. But if I did decide to get it, it would be the 60 volt version. That's very similar to my Klima. 44 miles an hour is very similar. I bet the range is very similar. The performance is probably decent. And the Emove line is fairly reputable. That being said, Voro Motors doesn't have the best reputation for getting back to people in time, delaying support, service, and so forth. And it's so important, right? It's so important. It is bad enough that these scooters that come out have problems right out of the box, or have problems in a very short time period. That's not a good look. But that more reflects the manufacturer. And I mean, in this case, Voro is the manufacturer of the Emove. But the other stuff, the service, the follow-up service, that your scooter's going to have problems, because all scooters have problems. Have a system set up, customer service system, support system, that helps people get, answers to their problems right away. You're building a brand, and your brand is going to have a reputation. And so you only get one chance to make a first impression. And so my first impression coming into scooters just in the past 6 months or so has not been spectacular, because of other stories and because of my own experiences that I've had. And those things are issues. They're worth pointing out, they're worth discussing, and they're worth addressing. So I think, I'm hesitant to go with the Voro Motors scooter right now, to be honest, just because their service hasn't been spectacular, and they take forever. I thought fluid was bad enough, responding only one time a day to get to a solution, but some people haven't heard back in 2 months from some of these people, which is really discouraging. And I've heard problems across the board with service. This is my Cane Corso Porsche. She's a big baby. She won't let me do a video right now. She wants to be in the video. So I'm super hesitant to work with Voro right now because of a few people reporting that. Hopefully they get better. You know, I would like to find out for myself, but it's so frustrating dealing with some of the problems that like this. You know, maybe because they support Emove and they manufacture directly, that wouldn't be an issue, but it's just hard to say. And once again, all scooters have problems, including the cruisers. I've seen them controller problems with the cruisers as well. So I would expect to have problems. I don't think we should accept that we're going to have problems, but at this point we should accept it. And we should expect customer service to be a little slow, but it has to be, I mean, it needs to get better, first of all. It just needs to get better. And then it has to get, you know, we need prompt service. We need good service. We need the parts to be available and so forth. If you're just pumping out scooters that are, you know, half tested, no quality control really to speak of seemingly, and people have to, you know, fix them on the spot like me, or ride it for 2 weeks and have problems. I've heard all kinds of stuff. 1 week, 2 weeks, they just got it. I mean, and nice scooters, not crap scooters, not, you know, it seems like the crap scooters do a little bit better. But once again, it comes down to being more complicated and more sophisticated. Those just come with, you know, little tuning problems and other problems that would pop up in scooters that have less to go wrong. So once again, my Journey Max, and I've heard someone said they had a problem with the Journey Max. I've never had a problem with the Journey Max flat tires, which is, to me, not a problem. Other than, you know, it sucks to change, but you know, it's a $400 or $500 scooter. I mean, honestly. So, you know, I don't have a problem, you know, recommending the Journey Max. And if you get it from Amazon, who has fabulous service, you can get an answer right away. They take care of you right away. They'll replace the scooter right away, no questions asked. Send it to you before you get the other one back. I mean, just top service you can expect from Amazon. They don't sell top of the line scooters at Amazon for the most part. And even then, you're only guaranteed within that certain time period. Now, had I got my Klima from Amazon, it would have been really easy for me to set up an exchange and get a new Klima. I'd have had it done in a day, at least the processing, however long it took me to get it here. But I'd have got it the same day. I know that because I had problems with my Journey Max, and I got same day service. They had another one out to me right away. And it had problems too. I ended up just keeping both the scooters. They let me keep both the scooters. So once again, I mean, service outside, you know, my expectations. It's frustrating that you can't go get a quality scooter outside of Amazon and be sure that at least you're going to get it okay. You don't have to pay for shipping insurance with Amazon. It comes insured. You're insured that if anything's wrong with it, you can return it within 30 days or whatever it is, 90 days, whatever their guarantee is. It may change on some. But, you know, I some people don't like to get their scooter from Amazon. And I get, you know, getting the no name you never heard of off of Amazon is scary. I mean, you don't know how support's going to work. The specs may be decent and the other stuff, but you don't know when something goes wrong, which it's likely going to, how the support's going to be. Given, you know, all of these things, it's really tough to say. I'm looking at all kinds of scooters. InMotion, you know, I really like the RS. I really think they're a good deal for Black Friday, both of them. Some crazy deals, actually. But at the same time, when it has problems, it's going to have problems. Error codes, motor controllers, motherboards, main boards, whatever you want to call them. I mean, just across the board, they've had issues. But it's nothing. They're not the only ones. You just want to be sure that they have the follow-up service, and that's the most important thing. Now, the first thing is to get it right out of the gate. But since right now that seems to be not possible, you've got to be on top of the service. You've got to get people help when stuff goes wrong. Otherwise, you're just sending crap scooters out and not supporting them. And so you're not supporting your own products. You're not putting the kind of dedication into your own brand, building a reputation that you should. And that is going to change. It will not stay like this. Other scooter companies will come out, will offer that service, will beef up quality control, and they will stand out from the rest. And it'll take off when they do. Could it be, T-Wing? Could it be Max Fun? Could it be some of these other brands that are pretty cool, scooter wise? And when they do, they're going to set themselves apart, and they're going to capture a large part of the market, maybe the largest part of the market, depending on if they got decent scooters, if they come to the table with some quality stuff that people like, and they offer really good service. They're going to stand out. They're going to be alone. It's going to be easy to see, and everybody's going to flock toward them. Or one of these other companies have to surpass the others, and that's going to take everybody in that direction. When they do, they're going to have to put time into that. They're going to have to put resources into that. Right now, I'm telling you, they're designing cool scooters, and then they're just throwing them out there. Let's get them out. Let's get them out. Let's get them out. My stuff came with several quality control issues now that I've dealt with. Most of them small issues, but some of them not small. And so when I take a look at everything, it almost makes me want to stay with Fluid. As much as I hate to say that, at least I know that they do get back to me, even though it is much slower than I would like it to be. They do get back to me, and from what I've heard, they do get the parts back to people. They're pretty good about holding up their end. It's just like pulling teeth with them, though. But at least there is a response within 2 months, and it took me 2 weeks to get my brakes. Of course, I was going back and forth that whole time, and by the time we decided on a solution, and I figured out what the problem was, and just took a bunch of that stuff like that. You got to do your own troubleshooting and so forth. That can be troublesome, but I was able to get there and get the problem solved, and got the parts and got it fixed, and that was the right problem. Everything was spectacular on that, as far as what I got in getting there. But the fact that I didn't have a really nice way to get on a chat, that's how I did it at Amazon. Let's go on there and chat with a support agent, and boom, we had a new scooter out. And that's the way it should be everywhere. Of course, Amazon's not a scooter company, so it's not so simple. But if you do find, I believe they have some InMotions. I do believe they have some Segways. They have some major brands. It doesn't matter where you get that from. And the brand should still also support that. So if you buy an InMotion from Amazon, you should be able to go to InMotion with a warranty claim, if it's within their manufacturer's warranty, and get parts from them. Although I've heard it can be very slow. And so you're dealing with that. Segway, of the scooter companies, might be the best of as far as like quality control, and maybe I don't know for sure about service. I would expect their scooters to be fairly decent quality, just because they have a reputation. They've been around a while, and they do seems like take some of that stuff very seriously. The problem with Segway is they still have problems. They're not void of problems. I've seen problems with them too. I don't know for sure how well their customer service is, but they're a big company, and sometimes if there's not a lot of competition with the same kind of service, you're not going to get that. But the second thing is, like, they don't really have a broad range of cool scooters, in my opinion. Like, they came out with the GT2. That's the only dual motor scooter that they have that I'm aware of. And it's a beast, scooter, and $2,500 isn't the worst price for it. But they don't have anything else. They really don't have anything else that I really like personally, that I would even consider. That's the only scooter they have that I would personally consider for myself. I like it. And the GT1's okay, but it's a single motor. I know it has performance. I'm sure it has great performance and all, but I just like having the ability to have a dual motor for all kinds of reasons. There's so many paths I could take. T-Wing, I'll tell you this about T-Wing. At least when I first started my channel, I reached out to several scooter companies. I said, hey, I'm starting a channel. I don't know. I was just being very ambitious. So I reached out to every scooter company I could think of. Hey, what's up? I didn't reach out to Voro. There's a couple I did reach out to because of how they wanted you to go about it or whatever. But I reached out to several, most of them. And T-Wing was the first one to reply to me. And we actually have a dialogue, got a dialogue going. I haven't gotten a real dialogue with any of the scooter companies yet. So once again, I just, heard back from them. I asked them questions on the Twing Z4 and they got back to me pretty quickly within a day. And they have, weird hours because they're based in China. So sometimes I have to wait till they see it and then respond back to me. Maybe they're worth a shot. It's tough to say. It's really tough to say. They could go set themselves apart. Anybody could do the same thing. My final thoughts is just, I like the Emove Cruiser V2. If I was more confident in the service, I would be really interested in the V2 dual motor. It's only the service that makes me really nervous. I've heard really things about Voro, people having to keep following up and keep, and that's just terrible service. Spend that kind of money on a scooter and not even have, and then just being kind of getting the runaround. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. So, thinking about that, it's your choice on how you want to go down that road. The only real experience I have with buying scooters is one was from Amazon, which I said the service was great. If I had a problem going down the road with one of the Hover One Journey Max, it's a $500 scooter. I don't even know if I'd go to the trouble to fix it, other than like a flat tire, replace the brakes, something like that. Nothing having to do with any controllers. I wouldn't even go to the trouble of that. If something went wrong, I'd probably toss it. But nothing has went wrong, and I don't know why I would just automatically expect that it would go wrong necessarily. It's a simple scooter. Like I said, it's not complicated. There's no hydraulic brakes. There's no sine wave controllers. It's just a basic controller, so it's not sophisticated and so forth. But that's my thoughts on it. Like I said, I don't know which way I'm leaning still. I'm still considering several different scooters. If I went back to fluid, I don't know what I would do. Not sure. They don't have too many that I'm interested in other than some of the Cabos, but I like the Cabo site. I like some of their deals, and I wouldn't mind getting it from Cabo. If I haven't heard anything bad or good about their service. I know they have problems with their scooters just like everybody else. And so that's a question mark. At least I know about fluid. And even though I don't feel like it's up to par, it might be one of the better ones, even though it's not spectacular. Guys, if you enjoyed this content, you found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And happy riding.